With there being a new Dragon Ball Super movie coming next year, the big question of who the big villain of the new movie is going to inevitably be is going to come up in the fandom. The last Dragon Ball Super movie gave us a reimagined version of Broly, one that people such as myself consider to be a far superior version of the character that we were introduced to in Dragon Ball Super movie number 8. However, while I strongly believe that Akira Toriyama is likely to introduce a brand new character in this upcoming movie, I want to make the case for continuing the trend of remixing characters who were introduced in the parallel timelines known as the Dragon Ball Z movies. In fact, I want to make the case specifically for who I feel is the second best villain in the Dragon Ball Z movies, which is Cooler, and why he should be brought into canon and how you could actually play around with Cooler's origin story. So with the series that is so deep and rich in lore, whether intentional or oftentimes accidental, like Dragon Ball, it's often overlooked because it isn't as super well thought out and complex a series that Dragon Ball inspired, like One Piece or Naruto. However, the character Cooler is a good example of expanding the lore into the series and how it could actually be done right. With Frieza being shown taking over King Cole's empire in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, the groundwork is there to add a twist onto the story of Frieza and his race. Now again, just to restate, this is my idea, just spitballing how I think introducing Cooler into the series could work and what tweaks you could actually make to the character of Cooler. So don't take this as official or anything like that. Again, this is just my idea. If King Cole passed over a firstborn child to give the empire to the youngest child, that in itself is a source of conflict. As somebody that is a sibling, I know all too well what happens when older siblings and younger siblings end up getting into conflict with one another. It can get very messy very fast. It sets the stage for there to be some type of conflict between the two, similar to how you saw in the two movies where Cooler was an antagonist. Expanding on the Frieza race is something that is desperately needed, especially now that Frieza is something of a very important character in the manga's ongoing arc. The idea of using Cooler to indirectly build up Frieza is something that could work if it was done right. When you really think about it, ever since the rebirth of this Dragon Ball era in 2013 with Battle of Gods, he's been this character that's either been in the shadows or directly involved in the series moving forward. For instance, in Battle of Gods, even though he was dead, Frieza still remained relevant, in that it was revealed that Beerus was the one who ordered Frieza to destroy planet Vegeta. In the revival of Frieza, he showed up and did the impossible. In only a few months, he closed the major gap that existed between Goku and Vegeta, where both of those characters had trials and tribulations and they had a crap ton of training. But Frieza, with only a new transformation after a short bout of training, had actually surpassed both of them. And if he would have actually mastered that form, he would have been able to kill the two Saiyan warriors. Now, the Tournament of Power saw Frieza fight alongside Goku to save the universe, and so many people back then wondered, would Frieza actually turn on Universe 7? He was a constant source of conflict, and in the end, he was rewarded, he was brought back to life, and then Frieza then turned around and reassembled the Frieza Force. In the Broly movie, we see that his army's grown in size and is looking to acquire more strength. Now in the Granola arc, he's being built up for a potential return, and Frieza is the target of Granola. In a very sneaky way, he's been a constant source of conflict in this new golden era of Dragon Ball, which is only right because he's the series' most iconic villain. However, this is where introducing the brother could help raise Frieza's profile even further, especially if he's going to be a bit of a long-running villain that gets taken down at the end of Dragon Ball Super whenever that inevitably happens. It would open the door for us to see another side of Frieza depending on which route it was taken. He's light years stronger than his father, we all know that. You could go the route of Cooler drastically being weaker than Frieza, being mistreated by Frieza, henceforth why King Cole passed him over when giving the empire to Frieza. Just as Frieza worked hard for a few months to acquire massive power, the idea is somebody from Frieza's race having to train for 40 years to acquire power would be the direct opposite of what we're used to, and it would further cement the fact that Frieza is a prodigy among his race, something that was alluded to in the actual series. However, prodigy talent in literature has been shown being trumped by those who are willing to work hard every day, and this is where you could contrast Cooler and Frieza. That's also where you have a right form of conflict. The older brother coming back to take what was rightfully his, the empire that he was in line to inherit, and was eventually passed over to his younger sibling. The younger brother who was born gifted and handed the empire. A clash between these two could work for conflict. By the time the movie is out, the Granola arc is likely finished, which means that there is some room to play with it. Should Frieza be killed off in this arc, having a movie set right after its end where Cooler takes over the army puts you on the path where you could have a new character potentially make an even bigger impact than Frieza ever did, perhaps even taking the mantle of the most iconic villain in the series. There's a lot of the End of Z era that we don't know about, which leaves a lot of room for Akira Toriyama to play with the lore if he so chose to do so. As for bringing Goku into battle, as much as I would like to see Goku and Vegeta team up against the two children of King Cold, I don't think that is likely to happen. Likely, if Cooler is brought back, then there's going to be a clash between he and Goku, which means there would have to be a bit of a tweak in the lore if the movie did go this route. Maybe Cooler's hubris is, despite the hard work that he's put in, he's blinded by the inferiority to Frieza and thus wants to show a superiority over Frieza by doing the one thing Frieza couldn't, which is kill the Super Saiyan. Sure, that would be one way to do it, and it would say a lot about the message of not allowing your own hubris to be your undoing, not allowing pride to be your undoing, but that would feel slightly cheap in my opinion. However, I'm curious to know what you guys' thoughts are down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.